Hello, and welcome to the BeeRPad. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about the TV shows that we're looking forward to the most in 2023. And with me today, he is California's
Eating.
he is eating. He is California's newest hockey fan. He is Welsh. He is dashing. He is charming. He is my friend, Marcus Beer.
He is fat. He's drinking Boddingtons.
I wish I was drinking Boddingtons.
Thank you, my friend Ray Padilla.
All right.
God, it's like 200 years since we first met, isn't it?
Been
And yes, what an exciting time to be still alive. It's so bizarre that and people will look at us and say, "Oh, you're just a couple of fucking man children," and it's like, you know what, we are.
Yes,
because we grew up in an era where the sci-fi had to be more about story than practical than effects, because CGI didn't really exist, and so a lot of the stuff that we loved in the comic books or in books in our imaginations was unfilmable back then. And now we're starting to see this with Marvel and with Star Wars and with DC and with so on and so forth. And so video game adaptations. I mean, people are like, oh yes, you guys they're just fossils. And it's like, you know what, we're the fossils who helped make the video game industry what it is today, because without us there'd be no video game industry. So it's true. It is fucking true, and it really pisses me off that so much of the work that the likes of you, I, and thousands of others have done from the 80s, 90s, the early aughts, if you will, have done has been marginalized and tossed to one side by the current fads and the the influencers. They're just so awesome. They do this, fuck off.
They sure
done nothing.
Tiny.
All they do is take out. But anyway, rant, I'm crabby. Yes. But I have some good TV to talk to you about.
Yes,
this is going to be a banner year for sci-fi, and my list is so sci-fi laden. It's fucking ridiculous.
I'm excited. I mean, there's so many choices now with all these streaming services churning out really high quality content that it's almost overwhelming. What do you prioritize? There's almost too much good content for nerds to watch.
So you got to be more judicious, but there's just so much good stuff. And since you went first last time,
yes,
should I go first this time?
Yes, but I did want to ask you a question though before we get into our picks.
Ask away.
You got a guitar over Christmas, did you not?
That one?
That's right. I'm excited for you to start playing.
I am too. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's the 12th of January, and I've had it for like 3 weeks now, and it's an intimidating thought, especially at my age, to try and learn the chords and everything. So I'm trying to find a really good way to get into it, whether I need to in-person lessons or videos or whatever. So yeah, it's just one of those things that it's like, it's sitting there and the amp and everything is there, and I've got a stand for it now, and I admit I am intimidated, which is a sad thing to say, but I've got to grab the bull by the horns at some point and just start learning. And I think it's just getting the chords going. I mean, I have memory problems. I can talk to you about 80s sci-fi video games, movies, whatever. That shit is still in there.
Right.
Unfortunately, one, being old, having had a serious brain trauma when I had my heart attack and I was down for 18 minutes and in a coma.
Right.
Valid point. Didn't know how I was going to come out, and now the medication I'm on, in particular Lupron, which is the reason I'm still here, because it's fighting my cancer, but it is well known to create memory issues and all general brain fogginess, and I am foggier than 18th century London. And so just trying to process that information and keep it is just something that is intimidating. But I'm going to give it the old, I'm not even going to say I'm going to give it the try. Do or do not. There is no try, as Frank Oz once said.
I do think it's really important not just for you, but for everyone to try to do things like learn how to play music or learn a different language, especially as you get older, because it just helps keep your certain neural pathways open, keeps you a little sharper and keeps your brain active in different ways. I have two suggestions for you for learning guitar. There's a wonderful gentleman that runs a service called Justin Guitar. He has apps on Android, iOS, or just his website, and all the beginner lessons are free. So, great way to get started. I think he explains things really well. No affiliation with him at all. I just think he's a great teacher that has helped thousands, if not millions, of people pick up some guitar. So, Justin Guitar. And as you get more advanced and you're ready to try to start learning songs, my favorite guy is Guitar Zero to Hero. He's a YouTuber,
Okay.
Vietnamese cat from Australia. So it's kind of, when I first saw his videos, totally threw me off. I'm like, why does a dude that looks that way sound like Crocodile Dundee? Like, it totally wigged me out. But also a wonderful teacher, has helped me.
All right. I have them
songs.
both queued up, and I will dig in.
And
Thank
everyone
you.
out there, learn music, learn language. It's good for your brain, good for your heart.
Good
Now,
for your soul. For your
yes,
soul.
absolutely.
All right. So
And we're going to start our
to,
band. We're going to start our
we are going
status quo tribute band, Status Ho. It's going to happen.
to. Sorry, people have to now go on Google who Status Quo are. By the way, it's
Do
not
they
Status
really?
Quo; it's Status Quo.
Yeah. Well, I just call
They're
them
an English.
Quo.
They're a British
Yeah.
band. It's Status Quo.
Okay.
But anyway, yes, they're gonna. I think a lot of younger people would have to Google to
That
see
makes me
who.
so sad. They're
Yeah,
so good.
but we so old. All right, so my first show that I'm really excited for, that and also kind of the trepidatious word comes in again, especially after you've looked. We looked at some of the video game adaptations recently. Halo is an Amazon Studios one. It's scheduled to hit towards the end of this year, and it's Fallout. Fallout is a universe that I absolutely adore. I actually skipped the first two Fallout games because, like the concept, wasn't a big fan of that type of gameplay. But then Fallout 3 came along, and oh my god, it blew my world away when I first saw that on 360 back in the day. And then obviously on PC, Fallout New Vegas is still one of my top 3 favorite games of all time. Fallout 4 was good, not great. Despite my biblical level annoyance with the Fallout 76. That I really I can't stand that game. Unfortunately, it doesn't feel like a Fallout game for me, but I am so looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing Power Armor. I'm looking forward to seeing the vaults. I'm looking forward to seeing the various factions, all with Jeff Bezos's money spaffed all over it. I'm hoping that he's not going to spend obviously Lord of the Rings money, but I am just really looking forward to this. It's something that I've wanted to see visualized for the longest time. And if I can't get another good Fallout game, which, I don't know if I'm going to get because, they're still working on Starfield. Bethesda can only, turn around one of these IPs once a generation, apparently now. I'm just, it's going to fill that huge void that I only filled, to be honest with you, by playing Fallout New Vegas again, because I would love to see Fallout New Vegas get a sequel. And especially as Bethesda and Obsidian are both part of the Microsoft machine. So I'm just saying, powers that be.
Make it
Put
happen.
It together. Make it happen with a beautiful new engine, some of the best storytelling. But if that's, until that happens, we've got this Amazon show. And I know you're a big fan of the Rings of Power. So hopefully that treatment will carry on with regards to Fallout at the end of 2023.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one too, and I'm not nearly as big of a sci-fi fan as you are. But those Fallout games, especially, I thought New Vegas was phenomenal. Not even in my wheelhouse, but it's just too good that I
When it
could not.
worked.
Yeah,
I mean, it was one of those movies that when games when it shipped, it was broken as because of the engine. But you patch it, you buy. Or
yeah,
if you're playing on PC, you get the Game of the Year edition, or you play on Xbox Live with the Game Pass, and it's all patched and all the additional contents there.
yeah,
You could lose yourself in that game for weeks, if not months.
absolutely,
All right,
absolutely.
so hit me, big boy, hit me with your number 5.
I will hit you with my fifth shot, not my best shot.
Pat Benatar.
Yes. Didn't she recently get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something?
That's
Congratulations, if I'm remembering
deserved.
correctly.
She's awesome
She absolutely is.
because remember, love is a battlefield.
Haha. Or as Weird Al
Bob.
said, love is a
Yes.
cattle field. No.
Weird Al.
So number 5 on my list, I think you might think it might be low, and I think some people out there might think it might be low, but my fifth pick is The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. I mean, this was such an influential show. It made the Disney Plus subscription worth it. It showed what Star Wars television could be, and it set us up for great things. Like even at its worst, which I think many would say Book of Boba Fett was the low point. I was still entertained by Book of Boba Fett, but it just wasn't as good as The Mandalorian or Andor, which I also think is phenomenal. For this season, we're going to be talking about more about the actual Mandalorian people. So Bo-Katan will be in it, played by the charming Katie Sackhoff, who also voiced the character in the cartoons. So I love what they've done with Mandalorian lore in the Clone Wars and Rebels series. So I'm looking forward to that. Pedro Pascal, obviously awesome. I loved him the second I saw him on Game of Thrones, and he just stole episodes. So The Mandalorian, that is my first and fifth pick of what I'm looking forward to.
And I'm with you again. Mando would have made my list but it's on yours, and it's going to suck for people who are looking for controversy and disagreements. I don't think they're going to get much of it here. Mando season 1, season 2 were absolutely phenomenal. The ending of season 2, a little bit of fan wankery with who turns up,
Sure.
because I could have done without another fucking Skywalker in there. No disrespect to the legend that is Mark Hamill, who is a wonderful, wonderful human being and a very talented actor. Book of Boba Fett, I think, suffered from so much expectation.
Yeah.
We were all waiting for it to be this epic adventure of Boba Fett blasting around the galaxy, seeking retribution, being a wanker. And it turned into a mini sci-fi version, Sopranos light with scooters and mopeds.
Forgot about the space scooters.
It's the space scooters, and the hipster squad, alien hipster squad of the future or the past. That actually did smack more of fan wankery than anything we've seen. We saw characters come in that have been near and dear to us for years. Since The Empire Strikes Back, with regards to a lot of the some of the bounty hunters and various other things. And so, Book of Boba Fett did not fill me with joy. It made me fear a little bit for the Star Wars televisual universe, but that fear was swept away by Andor, to be honest with you.
So good.
But I'm glad I made the decision I watched an episode of Andor, then just put it on hold and then binged it. And I think that is my problem with a lot of these shows now. I need to binge them more often than not to really, because I can't remember what the fuck's going on week to week. I'm an old man, for God's sake. But yes, I'm with you. I think Mando season 3, Pedro Pascal, absolute icon. And who doesn't want a Darksaber, eh? I've dropped numerous hints to my wife every Christmas since that first appeared, saying I wanted a fucking Darksaber. And have I had one? No Darksaber for me, eh? Because apparently I'm not evil enough. So yes, we're in agreement. We're in agreement so far. So let me go to my number 4 pick.
Let's hear it.
We are off. We're sticking with Disney Plus, and this is a show that's being led by the world's coolest 70-year-old, or 70-plus-year-old, whatever. The man, the myth, the badass motherfucker himself, Samuel L. Jackson. I'm talking about Secret Invasion.
Yes.
It's based on a very polarizing comic book series.
Yes. Very
Unsurprisingly,
much.
some people adore what is they try to do. Some people absolutely hate it. I'm kind of in the middle. I get what they were trying to do, but I needed more investment, more emotional investment in it. But Secret Invasion is basically the Skrulls who we saw in Miss Marvel, or Captain Marvel rather, and we've seen dotted around from time to time since. A tribe of the Skrulls who are in the comic books. The Skrulls are almost universally bad, but in the obviously in the MCU, they're refugees and they're good.
Right.
They just want to live, but you always have to have a bit of a wanky section of Skrull manatee,
Of course.
if you will. And basically, Secret Invasion is that a lot of these Skrulls have infiltrated human. They've infiltrated society, and they've basically taken the place of superheroes. Now, we did learn in a cutscene that in a more recent Marvel offering that Samuel L. Jackson, who we thought was, just being him with Maria Hill, was actually, it was Nick Fury, but it wasn't. It
Right.
was a couple of Skrulls, Sam Jackson and Maria Hill. They were off planet
Right.
doing some stuff. So I'm wondering if this is going to be the introduction of Sword, which is the next iteration of Shield on a more interplanetary galactic stage. So yeah, the trailer is out there. It looks intriguing. Is War Machine a Skrull? Because we see a lot of War Machine in this one.
Does he not have his own series like Armor Wars? Is that
Armor
this
Wars
year?
is coming, but we did. It's kind of but we can still have Rhodey in a series. But is it Rhodey who's been kidnapped or put to one side? Because they don't necessarily kill the people they replace,
right? They just store them or lock them up.
They store them. I think they've got to have some sort of psychic link or something with them.
Maybe Rhodey will walk again.
Yeah, maybe he will. When was he taken?
Right.
There's this whole bunch of stuff. I mean, so yeah, I'm looking forward to Secret Wars. The trailer's up and running, and I am just, I'm all over this one.
See,
I'm hoping. Go on.
Like you, I'm in the middle of where the comic books went because it's a really intriguing idea, but many times it was used as a crutch. Like, oh, this guy is being atypically dickish. Skrull, you're a Skrull too, and it almost became used as a poor excuse of like if they couldn't write their way out of a situation. Oh, he was a Skrull. He's been a Skrull for 30 years. He just never knew the real guy. So I'm afraid of things like that. I don't think Kevin Feige will allow that to happen. He keeps the overall story of the MCU pretty tight. So I think he could prevent a lot of that stuff. But I'm intrigued and I'm excited. Now, I'm going to move on to my next pick, which is also our third Disney Plus show in a row. This is American Born Chinese. It reunites a lot of the cast of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Michelle Yeoh, Ke Kwan, Stephanie
Golden
Hsu,
Globe winners, Ke Kwan and Michelle Yeoh.
Well deserved.
Absolutely. Oscars for both of them.
Kwan's speech at the Golden Globes is one of the most beautiful things I've seen. And
you did well, Short Round.
No, yeah, he just had that big 30 whatever year gap between roles.
Well, he retired. I mean, he was like, I didn't think that he could get another job, and so I'm sorry to. So, is this set in that? It's not set in that universe, though, is it?
No, this is actually based on a graphic novel by Gene Yang. His graphic novel, American Born Chinese, won an Eisner Award, and it's really interesting. It's a mix of ancient Chinese myths like the Monkey King, which has influenced things like Dragon Ball Z, and an immigrant story of an Asian American kid growing up and those issues that he has to deal with. and it connects them in a very interesting way. I don't want to spoil it, and I don't even know how closely it's going to follow the graphic novel. But I love the story of the graphic novel. I love this cast, and I love that they're telling a Asian American immigrant story on a Disney Plus show. So I am excited.
Oh, sign me up on cast alone. I mean, but if you
Yeah.
if you're throwing in Monkey King, I'm going to share with you a little bit of something of me growing up. In the 80s, we really had only 4 channels. We didn't really have much by way of cable. We certainly didn't have it in my house. I mean, we didn't have a VCR until the early 90s. But there was a show on BBC Two called Monkey, and it was the Chinese show about the Monkey King. And how he pissed off Buddha and had to guard a Buddhist priest called Tripitaka on his journey through China, and he was accompanied by a pig demon called Pigsy and a fish demon called Sandy. So it was Monkey, Sandy, Pigsy, and Tripitaka, and it had the best fucking soundtrack, the theme tune you could ever hear. So you should. I mean, it was obviously dubbed. I think it ran for only 2 seasons. I recently managed to catch up with a couple of episodes, courtesy of a friend. I recommend just looking for the theme tune alone. There was an updated version that I think dropped on Netflix a couple of years ago with Monkey, but it's not the same. It doesn't have the same. It doesn't have the same vibe. I mean, it's very polished. It's a lot more androgynous. It looks like a bunch of K-pop stars, or J-pop stars, which is quite ridiculous because obviously it's a Chinese legend. But it's any show that in the first 30 minutes has the monkey pissing on a pillar that turns out to be one of Buddha's fingers. Is pretty awesome. And this was, like I said, mid 80s, and it's just a baller show that has such a place in my heart. So yes, I've always been a big fan of that. So I recommend you try and find that intro sequence because it's worth the admission alone. It's got the best theme tune ever. I mean, it starts off born in an egg on a mountaintop. Monkey is so funky he'll never stop.
That's award-winning lyrics right there.
Boom!
How have I not heard of this before? This sounds amazing.
Eat your heart out, Lady Gaga.
All
so
right.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. Okay, so geez, all right. So we might as well just tell Disney Plus to take our money because guess what?
You got a Disney Plus show again?
I got a Disney Plus show, and it's a season 2 for everybody, for everybody's favorite god who puts the ass into Asgardian. It's Loki, season 2. Season 1 was so good. Highlight of the pandemic. Really sort of like filled us all with joy. Went off in so many different tangents. Owen Wilson, obviously Jonathan Majors, not Jonathan
Winters.
Introduced us, that was the big twist at the end. Was it going to be Reed Richards? Was it going to be this? No, it's fucking Kang the Conqueror. And now, Lady Loki, she done him in and sent the timeline spiraling into this multiversal disaster that we are now starting to see in the MCU. And season 2 is Loki trying to help get this shit back together, or reveling in it. In fact, we had Richard E. Grant as a version of Loki that is
with
just
that
worth
costume.
The
oh my god,
that costume! That's that 1970s Marvel costume. We had alligator Loki, for God's sake. Yeah. So yes, I'm down. I am so down. And the day before that first episode drops, I am going to binge that OG series from tip to tail, and I'm just going to be so ready. And I hope it does not suck balls.
I'm also really looking forward to this. This one just missed my list, and I was figuring you would put it on so we'd get to talk about it. The first season was just so creative, so original. that this like that in WandaVision showed us what Marvel TV shows can be. You know, Falcon and Winter Soldier was kind of, I enjoyed it, but it was more of the same of what I was getting from the movies. I really love how invented things like Loki got, and they weren't afraid to get weird. They weren't afraid to take chances, and I adore the show
Oh, it
because
was
of that.
weird.
Yeah,
And it just, I mean, just the fact that Loki was literally in love with himself.
himself.
I
Yes,
mean, how narcissistic can you get? We knew he was a narcissist, but he literally
yeah,
tried to fuck himself.
and it's perfect though. It's so perfect,
It's so
and
Loki, yeah.
I loved seeing that Richard Grant costume,
Yeah.
and the way like he was only, you know, he only had a handful of scenes that were just his, but every one of them he just ate it up and
Richard E.
totally
Grant
owned
is
it.
just he's a British cinematic legend. If you
And
haven't
it
seen
had,
With Nail and I, get
I
some
have not.
alcohol, slip an edible in, maybe, and watch With Nail and I with Paul McGann and Richard E. Grant. It's
I will.
it's low budget, it's 80s, it's British, it was made in the 80s and released in the 80s. It's a cult classic. You should definitely watch it. It's cuckoo bananas.
So
But it's
there's one
good.
thing that we got a little bit of in the first season that I'm hoping for more in the second season was Kid Loki, who had some of my favorite comic books in I think it was in the aughts that series really peaked, where he kind of took over for Thor in that series, and just a
Maybe they're going
wonderful,
to groom
wonderful
him for the
character.
Avengers,
Maybe
Young Avengers.
he was in the Young Avengers comics as well as
Oh,
Kid and later Teen Loki. So that yeah, that's actually a point I did not think about, but that could very well happen. I hope it does. Who would you
we'll see.
cast? Who would you cast? Timothy Chalamet. There you go. No, too old.
I'm kind of no. Actually, you know what? Keep the kid.
Keep
Keep the kid. Make it.
okay.
You know, they don't all have to be spotty faced fucking teens or 20
Yes.
somethings playing teens. Keep the kid.
Yes.
The kid did a bang up job in Loki. He's so what if he's aged? He's probably aged 2 or 3 years now. If he's a human being, so he will have aged 2 or 3 years by now. So let's see what he's got. Let's take that journey with him. If he's good enough and blah blah blah. Let's see his discomfort as he becomes a young man or a young
Let's
day
see.
or whatever
Yeah.
they want to be. So yeah. Okay, what do you got next, brother?
So my next pick is not a Disney Plus show, and
What? Oh, that's it. This show is over. Disney. I'm sorry, House of Mouse. They're going to pull all our funding.
oh, but wait, there's more. It is a show that I do not believe you're a fan of. It is Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Why the fuck would I be a fan of Curb Your Enthusiasm when it's basically me looking into a TV version of myself? I mean, come on. And it's funny. This, Curb Your Enthusiasm reminds me of a show again from the 80s in Britain called One Foot in the Grave, and a character called Victor Meldrew, who's literally an old curmudgeon. Grumble, grumble, miserable moan. And my wife adores Larry David. She
Yeah.
adores One Foot in the Grave. But I'm sorry, I've tried to watch it. I want to throttle him. I think he's brilliant as Bernie Sanders on SNL. I think his crypto ad was so funny for all the wrong reasons. But I've tried to watch this, and this unfortunately is in the same category. And I know I will get hate mail for this because I've gotten hate tweets for it in the past as Seinfeld. Can't stand either fucking show. Really annoying bunch of people. Drop them all in a swimming pool and drop a Tesla on top of them.
See, I think it's the New Yorker in me that makes me like Seinfeld, and even more so, a New Yorker that eventually moved to California that makes me like Curb, and also he can curse in Curb, so that's more lifelike. I just
Yeah, but we
love
can curse here.
he just writes quirky and neurotic humor so well. He makes so many problems of his own. He snatches defeat from the jaws of victory. I love his writing. I love his sense of humor, and I just love that so much of it is improv. Like he doesn't really write full scripts. He writes outlines and lets the actors do what they do. We've lost some of them, unfortunately. So no more Marty Funkhauser, who is one of my favorite characters. Shockingly, Richard Lewis is still alive, although he hasn't really looked alive for the last 10 years. Kind of looks
He's
like.
oh no, I'm thinking of somebody else. Sorry, but I know the guy. I know the guy you're talking about. Yeah, it is.
Definitely
It's
looks Weekend at
very.
Bernie's.
It is very neurotic, and it is very sort of like that New York sense of humor. Dare I say, New York Jewish sense of humor
Yeah,
that
no, that's
I
fair.
just don't seem to get. And please don't, hey, look, hate on me if you want. I don't give a shit. Not
No,
you, because I know
not
you don't
yeah.
hate on me. I'm talking about the great outside. Um,
Not
if
all
you all like
humor
the
is for
same thing.
everyone.
Yeah, and if you all like the same thing, I mean, I've just been rewatching a series from the UK called The Fast Show, which is was on BBC America's Brilliant, and it's basically a bunch of skits, not one longer than 90 seconds, and it's all super tight. Some recurring characters, some not, totally random, totally off the wall, very British in its humor. A lot of people don't get that, and I respect that. So you know what? We all like what we like and we dislike what we dislike, and we are not trying to stop. I'm not saying Larry David should should have his shows canceled. I am happy it brings joy to people. To me,
Yeah,
it's nothing but pain. So, but I won't be fucking watching it. The woman will be. And guess what? While she's watching that, I'll be in this video game room playing something on my Xbox, my PlayStation, on my PC, and having a fucking good old time.
But also kudos to Larry David, who's been doing this show since 2000. 22 years. That's crazy.
He's richer than Methuselah. He's got some money in the bank, and it's funny. This show was, he stepped away. He said, "Oh, after a certain amount of seasons, he was done," and then he brought it back, and then said he was done again, and he's brought it back again. And he's going strong. There's still a market for him. So you got to respect that. So I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with it. I just won't be watching the fucking thing.
Fair enough. Now let's hear your next pick, my friend.
My number 2, which is by no means a number 2, is a show that hits in 3 days from when we're recording it. We're recording this on January the 12th. This hits on January the 15th, 2023.
Bang.
Pedro Pascal in
Again.
the house. The Last of Us.
Ooh.
Neil Druckmann, the guy who wrote The Last of Us, one of the greatest video game stories ever written, and the dude who made Chernobyl. Can't remember his name, but I'm old and seen it. Chernobyl, one of the coolest shows of the last decade. Any show that has people's skin literally sliding off because they get infected by a nuclear disaster is a-okay for me. Seen the teasers. In fact, this is the show that is keeping my HBO Max subscription going. That's how good this show looks. You cannot go wrong with Pedro Pascal, as we know.
Right.
The clickers are there. The wound up redneck fucknuts with their guns are there. The regular zombies are undead or fungally infected, whatever they get called nowadays, are there. We know how it's going to start. We know how it's going to look. It looks baller. It's a great story. I'm going. My wife loves this. Loves this type of movie show anyway. We started watching The Walking Dead together, and The Walking Dead basically walked off a cliff several years ago. But when the reviews turn around and say this is how The Walking Dead should have continued, I'm in.
Yeah.
I am so all in for this show.
People are already calling it the best video game adaptation ever. So I'm excited. What I think is interesting is,
I mean, that's not a high bar.
It's not, but
and I mean, there's nothing coming out this year that will top that by raise that bar at all. Super Mario World.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at some of the Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within.
Yeah.
It's the Sonic. I mean, the 2 Sonic movies, eminently entertaining, not that great.
Sure.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, this Halo. We talked about Halo earlier, and that was just an awful show. Despite having a great lead in Master Chief, but it was just a horrible show. So this year between The Last of Us and Fallout, I have a hope for video game adaptations as TV shows that
Yeah.
I've never felt in my cold, withered heart before.
Well,
I mean, literally, by the end of this year, my heart might grow 2 sizes.
I don't think The Last of Us will fail simply because Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey are two excellent actors that they stole pretty much every episode of Game of Thrones that they were on, respectively.
Bella Ramsey was on screen, and thank you for providing her name, because I was thinking Bella Thorne, who is a whole different
Size, hair color,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, exactly.
age. Yeah.
Bella Ramsey. I mean, and she's not been the fanboy's choice,
Right.
to portray this character, and she's got a lot of shit sent her way because of this. So, first of all, let me address those fanboys. Go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves from here to next Christmas and back with a rather large cactus. This is the young lady. I'm not sure how she identifies, who in Game of Thrones you wanted to see a whole series built around her. If you could look up a picture of had no fucks to give / fuck around and find out, you would see a picture of Bella Ramsey as that character in Game of Thrones. She was absolutely baller. I am so looking forward to what she's doing along with Pedro Pascal. I think they are going to be a great team. So what, you didn't get your fan casting? Fuck your fan casting. She is an incredibly gifted young lady, actress, however you want to put it. And so, yeah, I am all in with this 150,000 million %.
And the latest in a long line of examples of how British people do American accents better than Americans do British accents.
Why, thank you, buddy.
Well, maybe you and Eddie Izzard are perhaps the exceptions.
Why? What are you saying there? You saying I can't do an American accent? Why,
No.
shucks, y'all.
You sound like autistic John Wayne or something. I don't know what's going on.
Howdy, partner.
Did I just cancel myself with that? I don't know what the rules are anymore.
John Wayne was a notorious homophobe and racist. And it wouldn't surprise me if he was probably closeted. So
not my Genghis Khan.
So in the words of a certain rap song, from Public Enemy, motherfuck him, and John Wayne. Yes. So there you go. What you got next? What's on your list? What's number 2 for you?
Number 2 also is not a number 2. It is. But we're going back to Disney Plus territory with Ahsoka. I am such a fan of this character, Ahsoka Tano. I thought she was a bit annoying in the first few episodes of Clone Wars, but watching her develop from a bratty Padawan into a strong and capable warrior and leader that she became in Rebels later, it was really cool watching this character grow up and develop. And she is easily my favorite Star Wars character that was not from the original trilogy. The actor playing her, Rosario Dawson. Also a big fan of Rosario Dawson. And a lot of this is going to tie into Rebels. So Rebels, to me, Rebels and Andor are the best Star Wars things of the last 20 years for me. So I can't wait to see. They've already cast Harrison Dula, Sabine Wren, Ezra Bridger. I do not think has been announced yet, but I can't wait to see these characters in real life because I loved them in the animated show Rebels. I cannot wait to see them. Harrison Dula is allegedly being played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, so that's kind of neat that she's married to Obi-Wan in real life. So kind of a nerd Star Wars thing right there.
And I mean, Ewan McGregor, who is my age, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who is 20 years younger.
Are they really? I did not know that.
I think it's like a 20-year difference, but well done, Ewan. Well done. Make us Celts proud, why don't you? I think they just welcomed their first or second child.
Wow.
Look, a heart wants what it wants, and as long as everybody's happy and nobody gets hurt, you can't argue with it. So yeah, she's a phenomenally talented actress who first came to attention from me in Scott Pilgrim.
Same.
Which it's funny, Scott Pilgrim did so badly at the box office, but I adore that movie.
I love it too.
It's Edgar Wright at his best, Michael Cena,
Michael Cera.
Sarah, sorry,
Yes.
not Cena. Um, yeah,
Superman. You got Superman and Captain Marvel in that
and
movie.
Captain Marvel, yes, you do, and Captain America.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You do have
Yeah.
Captain America in there. Yeah, I mean, it's just a great um, cast and a great movie. So yes, I'm looking forward to it. I thought when she appeared, I think she appeared in Book of Boba Fett, didn't she?
She
Or
was
was it
in both
Mando's too?
Mando
Okay,
and Book of Boba
that's
Fett
right.
and both. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what she's done. Rosario Dawson, obviously Clerks 2 and 3.
Yeah.
She was the brightest thing in Men in Black 2. She's been around forever. I had the privilege of being in New York. Oof, let me see. It would have been 2006, and I was there for a press tour when I was at Vivendi, and I'd just come back from a run. That's right, I was running then, and coming up to my hotel, and as I was coming in, she was coming out. I know this is just, nobody needs validation on their looks, but this woman has an aura about her
Oh yeah.
that you cannot even imagine if unless you see it in real life. I mean, she just exudes class and charisma, and I just held the door open, smiled, nodded. She smiled back, and it was just, I could feel my soul getting full. I know I'm gushing, but I mean, there's not many actresses I get starstruck around, but she was absolutely phenomenal then. So
I know
yes,
what you
I'm.
mean about presence too. Like
Yeah.
for the people that don't know, Marcus and I are both former smokers, which is a really stupid thing to do. You should not smoke. But I was at a video game party. I don't remember which one, and I went outside to have a smoke, and I was smoking next to this very tall woman that just had this stunning presence about her, and it was Famke Janssen, and just
Who we
in
know as Jean Grey from the X-Men movies. Is
yes,
Xenia on the top from GoldenEye. She was also in, what else was she in? She's
she's
just a great actress.
but in being around her in real life, just stunning. Like
Yeah.
you do not believe real people look like that, but they do
Charlize
until you
Theron
see them. Oh
is
wow.
another one. Saw her at the Game Awards and at a Bethesda party once. I was sitting like 3 rows behind her. This was in 2005 at the Game Awards, and oh, um,
Can't
anywho,
imagine.
anywho, I believe. Do we have anything? And do you have any on your sort of like bubbling unders for this year? Any shows that you?
Yeah. An Apple TV Plus show called Shrinking. This one is a Brett Goldstein, Bill Lawrence creation. So it's the Ted Lasso guys. It stars Jason Segel and Harrison Ford. Jason Segel basically plays a therapist who he has a traumatic experience, and one day he goes, fuck it, I'm just going to really connect with my clients, with my patients, and even if it's not appropriate, I'm going to share everything. So it's interesting to see
This
how
launches
this will
next
play
month, I
out.
believe. Yeah,
Is it next month already?
I think it's
Wow.
next month. I think it's February, isn't it?
Yeah, actually I think you're right.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this just because of Brett Goldstein and Bill Lawrence and the way they've entertained me with Ted Lasso. Bill Lawrence, I believe, also is behind Scrubs, if I'm not mistaken. So another excellent show. I have high expectations for it. So far, everything that I've chosen to watch on Apple TV Plus has been really good or great.
Well, there's a couple that come to mind for me. Succession is back, and I
That's
was
right.
late to the party on Succession. I'm so glad I've watched it though and caught up because my wife adores it. But I'm actually going to go for my other pick. I believe that season 3 is going to drop this summer, and that's Only Murders in the Building on Hulu, and that's Disney Plus for the rest of the world. We have it on Hulu.
Right.
Martin Short, Steve Martin, and that super talented young lady who I can't remember her name. Selena Gomez.
And go,
Not
yeah.
too senile. Hurrah. Season 1 was an unexpected breath of fresh air during the pandemic. I was like, oh, love it. Season 2, I thought would be suffering from its usual, the usual sophomore slump. It didn't. It was so just as fresh, just as great. The characters are amazing. They've grown them out even more. They brought new guest stars in. An absolutely superb show. Apparently, Ant-Man is going to be in the third one. The Boy Who Will Not Age. So yeah, it'll be. I'm just looking forward to it. I mean, I'm hoping. I mean, they've been filming, so I'm hoping it's going to hit this summer on Hulu, because I mean, summer in the US is traditionally dry time, to say the least. It's drier than a California drought with regards to quality televisual stuff. So that's where this is where the beauty of the streaming services really has come to the fore. Obviously, there's been shows dropping there over the last couple of years. I think you have one more lined up as well that will, hopefully bring us some joy. So that's my choice as a bubbling under.
I actually have two more. I forgot.
Go.
There are two Amazon Prime shows that I forgot about. One I'm kind of apprehensive of, that I'm curious about, and that is Gen V, which is a spinoff of The Boys. I love The Boys comic. The Boys TV show, I think, is one of the most skillful adaptations of a comic book ever. A lot of things that worked in the comic would not work now. So much of the comic is based on the trauma of 9/11, and obviously it's decades later, so they had to do a lot of modernization to it. They added the whole social media thing, which at the time of the comics did not exist the way it exists now. So I thought they did a great job of modernizing it. I don't know that it needed a spinoff, because I think The Boys is so good on its own, but let's see. I'm curious about it.
I'm down with that. You know what else I can't wait to see season 2 of is Invincible.
That's the other one. I forgot.
I don't know if is season 2 coming this year.
It's supposed to be this year, but they have not announced anything yet.
Okay.
It was renewed for a third last year, even though season 2 was not out. So I'm excited about. I love the comics and I love the TV show. So let's see it. I want more Invincible.
I'm totally down with both of those. So I'm guessing it's time for my number one pick.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, be right back.
Uh-oh. Where's Marcus going? Is he getting a sonic screwdriver or something by any chance?
Here's my choice. What? New teeth. What? It is Doctor Who, and this is David Tennant as Doctor Who. And this show has always been a part of my life since I was born. I mean, my mother got me watching when I was like 3 or 4 years old, with Tom Baker and his first episodes. And in fact, I just rewatched it. Hold on a second. And I actually got this for Christmas from my friends. I co-host another podcast called The Lonely TARDIS, where we talk about Doctor Who. And this is actually from the very first episode that I watched as a child, called Robot, 1974. Tom Baker as my Doctor Who, and the robot as the bad guy. And so this year is the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. It's the longest running sci-fi show in history. It's had its ups, it's had its downs. The last regeneration, if you will, was not very good. Nothing to do with the cast, more to do with the guy who was writing it, Chris Chibnall. He did not do very well. It started off quite strong, but then it just petered out into this mishmash of destroying canon left, right, and center, and viewership plummeted. I mean, this show came back from hiatus in 2005, and every year was pulling in so many viewers. So Chris Chibnall's run finished. The Doctor regenerated, and now the new showrunner is the guy who brought back the show in 2005, Russell T Davies, a Welshman, who has written It's a Sin, did the original Queer as Folk, he is a fan of the show. He loves the show. He loves working on the show, and he was brought back for the 60th anniversary. And now when the Doctor dies, or the version dies. So Jodie Whittaker was the last Doctor, the first female Doctor, who did a bang up job as best she could with some shitty scripts, to be honest with you. But when she regenerated at the end of her special last, I think it was November.
Yeah.
We were all expecting Ncuti Ngatwa. Ncuti Ngatwa, rather. I'm sorry about the mispronunciation. Who was in the new Barbie movie? Scottish actor, a black man, the first black man to be the Doctor, the first openly gay character to be the gay actor to be the Doctor. And Russell T Davies had filmed the regeneration scene, and nobody knew what was coming. And so instead of regenerating into the new Doctor, we all thought,
surprise,
we got the return of David Tennant,
yes,
who is quite possibly the favorite Doctor Who for so many people, especially who started watching the new run from 2005, and a lot of people, he's right behind Tom Baker for me as my favorite Doctor. And to see this character return for a 3-episode arc later on this year to celebrate the 60th anniversary of this show is incredibly exciting. It gives me so much hope for the show, because I became so jaded watching this week in, week out. I'm feeling bad about myself, thinking, am I a misogynist for not liking the first female Doctor? And it wasn't that at all. I was just, and I'm not the only one who hated the direction the show went, and the scripts in particular. They wasted some stellar cast. They had some really good highs in the last, in the last run. There's a Rosa Parks episode that I thought was so deftly handled and so respectfully handled and really interesting perspective-wise. But that was episode 3 of the first run in 2017, I think, and it was just downhill from there. So to say that I'm aching to live long enough to see this show come back, I can't wait to see what Ncuti Ngatwa does bring to this. I can't wait to see what David Tennant's doing. They've dropped the first big trailer. We know Catherine Tate is back as Donna Noble, who is my favorite companion of the new era.
Really, not Amy?
I got no quibbles with Amy Pond. I think Karen Gillan's done a marvelous job, but I think the thing I loved the most about Donna Noble is that she wasn't romantically interested in the Doctor. And that was a wonderfully liberated thing. So many people fall down the rabbit hole of, the chemistry, they're gonna, won't they? And we did that with Rose Tyler, and it worked across 2 Doctors, and then there was an ending that actually worked for us, and that everybody's invested in. But then we had another character who fell in love with him, and then we had Donna Noble, who came along, and she wasn't interested in that. Oi, spaceman, you're not going to mate with me. When he said, I just want to mate, you're not mating with me, spaceman. When he said, I just want a friend. And that's what Donna Noble is. She's a friend. She's a friend who also can't know who the Doctor is, because her brain will actually explode and burn up because of the issues that happened when she absorbed some Time Lord powers in a previous, towards the end of the David Tennant run, over a decade ago now. So it's heavily emotional. Looks really cool. We've got Neil Patrick Harris in there with the most bizarre German accent. Sign me up.
Same.
Yeah, and then it's also based on there's one of the characters, one of the bad guys is the Meep, which is this big fuzzy ball of a cute animal looking thing that's an absolute monster. And Meep just made its first appearance, and that's from it's never been in Doctor Who the series before. It came from Doctor Who the comics from the 70s and 80s, from the Dave Gibbons era. And so I actually have that. I remember reading it the first time, and I have the collected works of Dave Gibbons. And so, it's just ticking all the boxes for somebody like me. I know it's ticking the boxes for people who loved Doctor Who from the regen of in 2005, who kind of felt alienated or disappointed in what Chris Chibnall brought to the table. Again, no slight on the really good cast that they had. But this looks like in going back. Yes, they're going back, but they're going back to go forward. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the Doctor plays out, because we know that also Ncuti Gatwa is in the specials. But is he playing the Doctor? Does he become the Doctor? How does this all work? So there's so much about this. I've got, obviously, as you can tell, I've got so much love invested in this series. I mean, look, I've got the TARDIS blowing up behind me. I don't know if you probably can't see it, but just over my shoulder that's my TARDIS mini fridge. If I go up over here, there you go. I've got Daleks. I've got TARDISes. I have got sonic screwdrivers. I have so much Doctor Who stuff. If we look at, even just silly stuff like this, like my little TARDIS magnet. I mean, it's I've been the Doctor Who exhibition in Cardiff so many times before it closed. This show means so much to me, and I want it to be great, and I want it to stay around. So that I don't have any children, but I want my friends' children and their children to still have the Doctor in 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 years' time. And it's interesting now that Doctor Who, moving forward, is coming to Disney Plus. Disney have entered an agreement with BBC to help co-finance and distribute. The show itself has been taken out of BBC have made the decision to step back and handed production over to Bad Wolf Studios, which is a Welsh production company, because since it's come back, it's all been filmed in Wales. But this production company, Bad Wolf Productions, is now part owned by Sony. So there is money for quality effects. But the undertaking is, or the stipulations are, you cannot take away its inherent Britishness. We will not have the issues of the 1987-88 Doctor Who movie with Eric Roberts as the Master. Paul McGann's only real chance to be the Doctor, which was set in San Francisco, and said that he was half human on his mother's side and a whole bunch of bollocks. Doctor Who, its inherent Britishness is what is like a character in it. It would be like taking Star Wars out of a galaxy far, far away and setting it in Reno.
Well, it's like when they did an American version, American modernized version of the Tomorrow People, which I thought sucked.
Which was awful. And that's another one I've been catching up on again recently. And the stories, I mean, they are for kids, but they actually can hold up and can be done really well.
Yeah.
But the Tomorrow People and Blake Seven, Doctor Who, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Dirk Gently, these, the Triffids, anything by John Wyndham.
Red Dwarf, another one.
Red Dwarf, the voice from the Dwarf. It's inherently British in its sense of humor, and it's that sense of humor and that love of those shows are what have given us Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End. They fed into all of these movies and these pop culture experiences. And it's all stemmed from the unique Britishness. And obviously you were talking about, Samoa punching its weight well above its weight in the wrestling world. But, yes, I know England colonized the world in the 15, 16, 1700s and was once the preeminent country in the world because of colonization and raping and pillaging and being scumbags.
Yeah. In the Hollywood era, the British influence has been tremendous.
Yeah, and in the TV side of it, it just really punches so above its weight.
Yeah.
And as an expat who is living here and who, I will not pull any punches. I got to go home last summer and see my family, and at the time, I thought that could be my last visit and see my family, and I'll be dead before I get the chance to do it again. And, things could change where, right now I'm fighting this cancer and I'm holding it at bay, but all that could change. And I might not get to see them again. And that's, it just brings brings these things home, homesick wise, and say,
Right.
and so on. And that's why Doctor Who, for me, a good Doctor Who can do as much good for my physical and mental well-being as a positive result from my oncologist. So that's why I am so looking forward to Russell T Davies coming back, and with the bonus of David Tennant and Catherine Tate as Dominic Noble. It's gonna be biblical.
So I want to take you on a slight tangent before I share some Doctor Who thoughts. The first time I ever saw Red Dwarf was in Tokyo, and it was dubbed in Spanish. And I'm like,
Jesus.
and I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? I can't stop looking at it. And then I watched the show in English later, but it was just so bizarre when you're.
And if you don't know what Red Dwarf is, you can catch it in the US on BritBox. The first season is very interesting. It's in fact the first two seasons, especially the first time you see Crichton, the mechanoid. His first makeup iteration is terrifying to the extreme, but the show really hits its stride in season 3 on. And then you got to remember it was dealing with a different time at the BBC. A lot of struggles that Doctor Who was suffering from at the same time. Shuffled around the ratings, funded, not funded, cancelled, uncancelled. So yes, and it's still going strong with a now aging cast of Craig Charles, Chris Barry, Danny John Jules, and so on. So, and Robert Llewellyn as Crichton. So yes. So carry on. Sorry, I just wanted to give people some perspective to watch it. And if you want to watch Doctor Who, all the classic episodes are also on BritBox. And currently, everything from the new iteration is on HBO Max for now, before it moves, I think, to Disney Plus. In addition, check out Torchwood, because that's also on HBO Max, and that's a great spin-off. But please carry on.
So I'm excited. I'm a big David Tennant fan. I just think he's such a skilled actor, and when he gets intense, you can feel it. But from what I've seen of him in interviews and award shows, he just seems like a really nice and humble man. So I'm always rooting for him.
He's a Scottish Nick Cannon. He has like 7 kids.
Does he really? I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like it's become a running joke. It's like, how many kids have you got now, David Tennant? And he's married to Georgia Moffat, who played the Doctor's daughter in an episode with him, and who is Stephen Moffat's
right.
Oh, sorry, Georgia Tennant, not Stephen Moffat's daughter. My apologies. Is Peter Davidson's daughter, not Pete Davidson, but Peter Davidson.
Very different.
He was the 4th Doctor. So talk about keeping it in the family.
But
very, very crazy.
One of the reasons I'm really excited about the upcoming Doctor Who is just watching how excited you are about it. Your love and enthusiasm for the show has me more amped about it, and it's really cool to see. And it almost like, I was talking earlier about how Curb has been around for 22 years, that Doctor Who has been around for 60 something years. That
this fall will be the 60th anniversary.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. And I'm excited. And I'm excited because you're so excited. And you just can't hide it. One of the Pointer Sisters just died. So I just.
Oh, no, really? Why is it Jeff Beck died?
Oh, Jeff Beck hurts. Today was Lisa Marie Presley.
She passed away too?
Yeah.
Today? Shit. Yeah. What is it with January? I mean,
wait. Which Presley was it? I don't want to get this wrong. I could be very wrong about this.
Priscilla?
No, it was Lisa Marie. I was correct.
Lisa Marie wasn't that old.
No, 54.
Oh God, I mean, that's 2 years older than me.
Yeah, I just read she was sick, and then like an hour later, I saw another article that she had died. It's kind of
Good
nuts.
grief.
And I think she was only hospitalized today as well.
Cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to basically I mean, that's the thing. That's obviously what I had, and just having the right people
And the right
around
dog.
you. Yeah, the right dog. Yeah. Well, that's just tragic. That is just tragic. She had a hard life.
Yeah.
Never mind being married to Michael Jackson.
So Jeff Beck, he's at the same time a legendary and underrated guitar player. A lot of people that know him know how good he is, but even a lot of people that know him don't know how well he's done in multiple genres.
Yeah. He's an icon.
Yeah. I mean, rock, funk, blues, a little bit of jazz. I mean, he's done it all. He's the first guy I ever knew to use the talk box. He might have been the first to use the talk box in popular music, way before Richie Sambora did it in Living on a Prayer. Phenomenal musician, and that is a big loss for anyone that is interested or has loved guitar.
7 years ago, this past week, we were starting our adoption training process. And as we were pulling into the parking lot, the news broke that David Bowie died.
Oh, wow.
And that's the thing. The older you get, the more the people from your youth, your icons, the people you grew up loving pass. But when they're in their 50s, we should not be dying in our 50s.
No.
We should. And you got to think, it just brings back this thing that I think I've said to you before about only the good dying young, because you look at some of the arseholes who are still left on this planet and all the ones who are giving us so much joy, who are decent human beings, being taken from us. Anyway,
before we roll, I just slightly quick tangent. One of my lifelong crushes is turning 64 next week, and it kind of wigged me out. Susanna Hoffs from the Bangles.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
64.
Oh, God, how many? Yeah, how many people? And I think she's married to the director of the Austin Powers movie,
Jay Roach.
Yeah, Jay Roach. Right. Yeah, that's right. They've been together for a very long time. Yeah. She was obviously in Ming T, which was the Austin Powers cover, that band in the movie. So, but yeah, she's
I still think she's
Frame
at 64.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. Well, look, I'm still in love with Helen Mirren, and she is 80. Or whatever. All right, look, let's crack on. We're getting a little maudlin, and we are going an hour and 8 now. Come on.
Yeah.
What's your number one, my friend? I think I know.
Yeah, I think you do too. It is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. It has not been confirmed for 2023, but in my heart and in my mind, it is coming out this year.
It has to.
Tell me otherwise. Yeah, it has to.
Fucking has to. I mean, otherwise it turns into televisual daikatana.
Yeah, pretty much. But I'm looking forward to the third and presumably the final season of Ted Lasso. This is one of my favorite shows of all time. It started out from a pair of NBC sports sketches and became one of the most beautiful and heartfelt shows that I've ever seen. It just blends humor and heart so well. It rides the line between sweet and just pushes it to the edge before getting sappy. Does it so skillfully that I've never seen anything like it, in all honesty. And the cast, the crew, the writing, it's just perfect. Of course, it helps that it's about football. Of course, but it's I cannot wait for this show. I think it's one of the best shows of all time, and I'm ready. Bring it on.
I am too, my friend. I am too. I mean, it was the show we needed in the summer of 2020 when the pandemic hit. And they've always said that there's 3 seasons and that's it. The sets have been struck. The filming is finished. The editing is being done.
Yeah.
Just give us my concern. My concern is that this has been a long process for the third one, and I'm just wondering if there's been perhaps too much tinkering. Will we, are our expectations too high for season 3? Season 1 was Star Wars. Season 2 was Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
Do we get Return of the Jedi? Because
No
Nate the
Ewoks,
Great.
please.
Yeah, well, Nate the Great is now managing West Ham, and he's gone grey. He's gone to the dark side.
That's right.
The Greyhounds are back in the Premier League. They got their promotion.
They did.
Is it going to be an FA Cup run? Are they going to pull a Leicester and an unlikely crack at the Premier League? Are we going to have our happy ending? Will Nate be redeemed? Everything about this show shouldn't have worked. As you said, I mean, it was based on two admittedly funny but tired preconceptions from the NBC ads. The ads were funny. The premise was just, oh, look, American fish out of water, blah blah blah.
But also tonally very different. Those sketches were much angrier than the show.
They were, and they had him coming in to manage Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
So yeah, we everything about this show just came out of nowhere. The ensemble is the power of this show. It's made household names of every member of the cast, deservedly so.
Yeah.
It's swept the boards every time it's been in consideration. Deservedly so. I mean, we want happy ending. We want, I'd be happy with a really good season with ups and downs left, swerves and turns. But give us the happy ending at the end of it. Ted Lasso. Ted deserves to be happy.
He does.
Keely deserves to be happy. Rebecca deserves to be happy. Nate needs to be redeemed. He doesn't want to be working for that wanker at West Ham. He deserves to be taking over from Ted, who basically will retire after, Richmond win the Premier League. And that's what I want. That's what I think that's what our souls need. Anything less could literally bring the end of civilization as we know it. And yeah, I think we're looking at it.
Though. I think the characters should all have happy endings, but not the team. I think it's too cliche to have them win the league, or
Well, they can win the FA Cup. They can have an FA Cup run. There's whatever it is. But look, Leicester have proven that it can be done. Yeah. Nobody thought of Leicester in 2015. And what were they? The 2001 outsiders?
Yeah.
And they came out of nowhere. They went on this run, and it shows it's actually possible. Blackburn Rovers did it in the opening days of the Premier League back in the day. Leeds United did it. Before the Manchester machine rolled on, and then Arsenal. We've had some amazing champions in the first, going back to First Division days. Norwich made a run for the title years ago. West Ham have done it. I mean, there's a whole that is the beauty of history, and that is something that is, before the Premier League money came in, it was anybody's title. Every season, everybody had a chance. It wasn't Manchester United, Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal winning the cups over and over and over, the league over and over and over, because it's become this monopoly or duopoly or whatever you want to call it. And it's tired. I mean, I'm actually enjoying Arsenal leading this year.
And Newcastle's doing quite well.
Newcastle as well. So, we need that. We need that to show that you can persevere. The underdog can come good. The good guys can win. We all need to see that the good guys can win. We had the bittersweet ending of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
We had the bittersweet ending of season 2. Season 1, where the ending was they went down.
Right.
But a lot of things happened that were good. Season 2, they came back up, but they lost Nate to the dark side. Season 3, let's just get, and I'm sorry for the rowdy birds in the background, by the way. There's, this mahjong party that's going on with my wife.
Hey, ain't no party like a mahjong party.
Because a mahjong is the Altadena mahjong ladies in full effect, yo. So yeah, we need Ted Lasso to finish on happy endings for all of us, and that includes AFC Richmond beating West Ham to the Premier League title. That's what we need. You admit it. You need it. I need it. We need happy endings for everybody, but we need a happy ending for the club, which means a happy ending for the fans. Come on, you know in your heart you want it. Look, come on, I can see you cracking. I can see the facade slipping. In that, I'm not talking about Super Saccharine one. There's gonna be twists and turns, and perhaps not everybody will get what we want them to, but the team has to do it. I want to see that team do well. Ted leave on a high, Rebecca leave on a high.
So prediction on a sub story. Do Roy and Keeley make it, or does Roy end up with the cute Irish teacher?
I think I don't know. I don't think they will make it. I don't think they will make it. I think Keeley will become big. Her app will take off, or some of the banter app will take off, or she will get an opportunity to go overseas, maybe come to America. Yeah, and I think Brett Goldstein, I think Roy Kent, he needs, or Roy Keane, as I've kept on calling him over the years. Roy Kent, Keeley has been good for him, but I think Keeley is too hot for his soul to handle. She's not a bad person. She's a lovely person, and she's with somebody who treats her with the love and respect. But I think, and I don't think she'll do it out of malice. I just think they will go their separate ways, and he might end up with the person. And I actually think he will take over as manager of Richmond after Ted guides them to the Premier League, and the guys either retire or leave to come back to the US. I got a funny feeling Ted will be offered the chance to coach. I'm thinking the US women's national team.
I also think Ted will end up back in America and hopefully back with his family. How about?
I don't think he'll be back with his family. That ship has sailed.
Okay.
I think,
or at least closer to his son. I mean,
yeah. Well, no. I mean, I think he'll be in the same zip code as his son, but I think he will not be with his ex-wife. I think that ship has sailed, and it needs to be put off. But I mean, a lot of people are hoping that it's Ted and Rebecca who get together. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I think Rebecca's friend. I think Rebecca's friend and Ted could actually be a good thing. But anyway, we'll see. Well, that'll be a whole episode. I mean, just look forward to hopefully the middle of this year when nothing else is on, where we're talking about Only Murders in the Building and Ted Lasso on a weekly basis, because that's what we will be doing.
I cannot wait. I am so excited for that show.
Me too. And good God, an hour and 20 we've been going for now.
Don't worry, we're gonna edit like a good.
No, fuck it. People just put this on in the background. You know what? This is our stream of consciousness podcast. This is what the BeeRPad is all about. This is our unfiltered, unedited, unedited Freudian slip there, unedited view of things that people love and people hate. So you know what? I think we should just put it out there as is. And if you disagree with me, with the exception of Rakes, obviously he's got a dog in this fight. But no, I just think we should just have it unedited and let people enjoy. While you all look at the least attractive part of my TV show, of my TV studio rather, and now you can look at my supper that's gone cold.
There you go. Curry. But I like the tagline you just started for an uneducated view of today's pop culture.
Unfettered and uneducated. That's us. And flatulent. So, all right. Ted Lasso and Doctor Who, two British shows, baby. Absolutely. Is Ted Lasso a British show or an American show? It's American money and American lead, but
most of the cast is British.
Yeah,
not over there. Most of the crew is British. It's the best of both worlds.
Exactly. All right.
Now, guys, we want to know what TV shows you're looking forward to this year. Drop us a line on Twitter. You can see it up there, the BeeRPad.
Give us your uneducated views.
And unfiltered also. I love that. The unfiltered and uneducated BeeRPad. Totally.
Brought to you by Boddington's. Let's have
Yeah.
another one of those.
Hey, that's a fine beer. Love it.
If they want to
Guys,
sponsor this show, absolutely. We'll take payment in cash and
yeah.
cases of Boddington's. Thank you very much.
Be sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your
Yeah,
enemies,
tell your friends. Tell your friends. Tell celebrities.
tell
Tell your
random people
influencers.
at
Yes.
groceries.
Tell Kevin Smith.
Tell
Kevin
Smith.
Feige.
Yes. And if you subscribe, an angel will get its wings.
And if you, yes, and there's actually a limited time offer right now. If you do subscribe, you get fuck all except us.
There you go. And we will see you next time. We'll be doing a live show where we're going to be talking about the video games we're looking forward to in 2023.
And there may be a little return of Annoyed Gamer, because I think he's got some rants coming up. The return of Annoyed Gamer in 2023. If that doesn't get your yayas going, well, I'm sorry, you're out.
There's the hook. That is the hook. You're watching the next episode now. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Peace.